4,570 new cases of coronavirus infection have been detected in Georgia as of Friday, and as a result, the total number of infection has increased to 178,953 cases.
Statistics show that on Friday, the death toll rose from 43 to 1,657, and the total number of recovered have reached 148,332.
At this stage, 1,019 people are in quarantine, and around 7,000 people are in the hospital under supervision.
As for the region, Turkey had the highest number of new cases, and so far Russia has the highest death toll.
And this is the Checkpoints, hosted and co-authored by Elena Kvanchilashvili and myself. I'm Georgi Sakadze. This is Sunday evening, and we have gathered together to talk about business and economy.
Yes, Sunday, 10 p.m. Is the time for the Checkpoints, definitely. And after a traditional update on COVID-19 and its toll, unfortunately, let me, Georgi, exceed our condolences to Vakhtang Phakadze's family upon his untimely death due to COVID-19.
Yes, Elena, businessman Vakhtang Phakadze, founder of Lutetia Group, died at the age of 63 with COVID-19. Vakhtang Phakadze founded the company Lutetia in 1999. The group combines a chain of Lutetia perfume stores, MAC, Calcedonia, and Yves Rocher, and other well-known worldwide brands.
Yes. What's more, Georgi, he was on the cover of Forbes Georgia. I personally conducted the interview with him, and he was indeed among interesting respondents.
Our condolences. Well, life has to go on, and after the UK, Canada is the second country to approve the vaccine against COVID-19. However, the UK is the country of COVID history who already vaccinated the first patient.
Yes, and the second one as well, for that matter, Georgi.
Yeah, second one, yes, so true. Let's mention these people. A 90-year-old woman from Northern Ireland has become the first person worldwide in the world to receive the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccine outside trial conditions, marking the start of the UK's mass vaccination program. BBC reported Margaret Keenan from Enniskillen said she felt so privileged to receive the job at University Hospital Coventry. Ms. Keenan said, "I feel so privileged to be the first person vaccinated against COVID-19. It's the best early birthday present I could wish for, because it means I can finally look forward to spending time with my family and friends in the new year after being on my own for the most of the year. I can't thank May and the NHS staff enough who have looked after me tremendously, and my advice to anyone offered the vaccine is to take it."
I don't know what to say. It's just overwhelming, I suppose, really. Yeah.
And what do you say to those who might be having second thoughts about having this?
Well, I would say go for it. Go for it, because it's free, and it's the best thing that's ever happened at the moment. So please go for it. That's all I say, you know. If I can do it, well, so can you.
If I can have it at 90, then you can have it too, she said.
Yes. William Shakespeare,
Yeah.
yes,
was
William
something.
Shakespeare has become the second person in Britain to receive the newly approved coronavirus vaccine. Our viewers can see this very popular photo right now on their screens. The 81-year-old namesake of England's greatest dramatist had the injection at University Hospital Coventry in Warwickshire on Tuesday morning, only 20 miles from the Bard's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon. Health Secretary Matt Hancock appeared very briefly overcome with emotion on live TV as he watched footage of Mr. Shakespeare's getting the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine, looking down and wiping at his eye. TV's Good Morning Britain host Piers Morgan noted he had become quite emotional, to which Mr. Hancock replied, "It's been such a tough year for so many people, and there's William Shakespeare putting it so simply for everybody that we can get on with our lives.
Yeah. And Georgian government is working hard to buy COVID-19 vaccine. And we heard some new dates this week from the head of NCDC, Amir Angamprelidze, that risk groups might already get the chance to be vaccinated sometime early spring.
Yes, meanwhile, Georgi, private sector also tries to work hard on some innovative approaches to enhance the preventive capacity from COVID-19, and it is such a digital world after all, leapfrogging to some extent due to this pandemic as well.
And we will follow details in a minute, but let me tell our viewers and followers very briefly that David Khosroshvili invented a smart camera which helps you avoid overcrowded sections in supermarkets and decrease the chance of catching COVID-19. The app is so innovative that Israeli embassy funded this business idea with $20,000.
And Georgi, what's more, David Khosroshvili was on the 30 under 30 Forbes Georgia list. And let me say how proud I am to be part of the most fair competition and selection process, which gives Georgia such new names that we will be hearing more and more of.
Indeed, Elena, and David Khosroshvili is just one such name. Let us wish his innovation and him personally a big success on behalf of the Forbes Georgia team. Here is David Khosroshvili's story that our journalist Tatia Gakiashvili pulled together for the checkpoints.
This is the innovation of a young, successful startupper and an entrepreneur, David Khosroshvili. The product of Terminal was invented by one of the members of the Forbes Georgia list of successful entrepreneurs under 30. This innovation aims to control COVID-19. It is set to help the business sector to manage the pandemic. Most importantly, the Terminal is a product affordable to everyone.
Even before Corona, our team has been working on computer vision algorithms, and we've been mainly been focused on so-called FPGA system, which is much more complex and strong than nowadays existing processing units in our, let's say, PCs and laptops. So that was like main idea when we started, like before Corona. But then like when Corona appeared on the market, we thought that why don't we focus on working on something more special and something that could be like really good for the society. So we started to work on thermal cameras that would be able to detect temperature and fever of anybody passing by.
Terminal creates a low-cost, easy-to-use autonomous camera, and its main purpose is to monitor the temperature of people in different locations. The camera has other functions as well. It offers the flow of people and identifies those sections in retail outlets that are generally the most popular and overcrowded. The camera does not save photos and videos, which means that the right of consumers are not violated.
Our camera gonna be around 10 times cheaper than some analogs on the market, right? So that was an idea to make it accessible to small businesses that would be able to afford buying this kind of software and camera.
This new innovative technology allows high computing operations to be performed at an affordable price, which in total significantly reduces the price of the camera. Israeli embassy in Georgia funded David Khosroshvili's project Terminal with $10,000.
We have an organization which is part of the Israeli government, and it is called Mashav. Mashav is like the Israeli USAID. It's the part of the Israeli government that is responsible for international development cooperation. And Mashav has been active in Georgia for almost 30 years and has trained over 1,500 Georgian men and women in Israel in a broad range of topics, from entrepreneurship, innovation, to agriculture or civil society activism, education, many different things. And David is one of the most successful examples of what we, Georgia and Israel, can achieve together. David is a young, talented Georgian entrepreneur. He came to Israel for Mashav training.
One option that the creative team plans to provide is the leasing opportunity of the camera for a fixed monthly fee, so that it's not necessary to pay the full price at once and cut the expenses even more.
This was David Khosroshvili. And Georgi, let us tell our viewers that if potential under 30s are watching us now, they have all the chances to apply for the competition, which is open, a little bit late due to COVID, but still open now for the applications. And you can view all the details on Forbes Georgia's website, forbes.ge.
And let us also mention here, Elena, that the award ceremony will still be held against all odds online, but we think of some innovative elements to turn the online interaction into a real celebration. So please be active, apply, and give us a chance to be proud of you.
Yes, Maria Madamia will tell you more why Forbes Georgia believes it is such an incredible opportunity for under 30s and why we give our best to have this annual selection of young, smart, innovative, and successful people from across the sectors.
The goal of Forbes is to find new names and increase awareness about their achievements. With this approach, Forbes is creating a community of under 30s, a kind of network that is key feature to success in business and any other fields in the 21st century. Wondering how to use this opportunity from Forbes? Then follow me.
The main prerequisite for getting on the Georgian Forbes list of under 30s is to fill in the online application form. A letter of recommendation must also be submitted, which must include detailed information about the nominees' activities, their specific achievements, and contribution to the selected category. The document must be issued by the head of the company, an investor, or an industry expert. The full contact information of the recommender must be provided. Please note that the application will not be accepted without a letter of recommendation and proof of birth date.
Forbes in Georgia is the same analog of Forbes in the US. US 30 under 30, and these people have the same platform that our Georgian businesses, young Georgian businesses have here. So if they need to communicate with their peers, their foreign peers, they have the same ground for doing so, which we think is very important. And another one is that we are making some kind of, systematic database of these people who can be doing innovative future business in Georgia. And these are the young people. They do not have the experiences of the hurdles that, for example, old and experienced business in Georgia has.
You will not receive a confirmation email after filling out the form. However, you can be sure that your application will be accepted and processed. The first stage of application evaluation is carried out by the Forbes editorial staff, which compiles a preliminary list of nominees submitted to the jury to determine the final winners. The online application is available to anyone whose success in the Georgian market is easily measured. As for the age, the contestant should not be over 29 years old by December 31, 2020. Citizenship does not matter. However, it does matter where the nominees and their businesses are widely known. In our case, it's Georgia. List of categories is as follows: culture and style, technology, entrepreneurship, science, and sports. Finally, the award ceremony will be held online, or we will gather together in a traditional way. This will depend on the epidemiological situation at the time. Keep an eye on the exact date, format, and link after the New Year's.
By the way, Elena, let us see who is Mariam's hero. from 30 under 30's current list today. And it is Keti Vachiberidze. In today's world, e-commerce is the fastest growing and most consumer-friendly industry to which the world has found it particularly easy to get a foothold. This is an area that has removed the geographical frameworks of doing business and today is developing with equal success in developing or developed countries, including in Georgia. This is exactly the path taken by Keti Vachiberidze, the founder of B2CG, whose platform allows users to easily create an online store for their businesses. As a result, more than 100 online stores have been created which sell their products not only in the local but also in the global market.
Today in Georgia, e-commerce development is in a very interesting and transforming period, and our platform B2CG is on the right place and on the right time. E-commerce share in total retail sales in the country is less than 1%, and our main goal is today to increase this share. And how we do it? In the way that we make e-commerce accessible for everyone. The businesses today are facing a lot of challenges to digitalize, and we are offering them the solution. Our platform supports small and medium businesses to create their own online shop and start selling immediately in Georgia and as well as abroad. It's important to mention that we are not only the software provider, but we are also offering digital business tool that includes not only the attractive online shop, but there is essential services such as integration of online payment system, delivery services, accounting and ERP service providers. And these topics are and were main barriers for businesses in Georgia and in region totally that were hindering e-commerce development in the country. So we solved this problem, and currently more than 450 shops are operating through our platform. Pandemic period completely changed the picture in the country and increased the awareness about online shopping in the country. In the beginning of the 2020, there were about 100 shops operating through our platform. Today we can say that this number increased with 300%. Currently we are serving 450 shops and they are selling their products not only in Georgia but also in other countries. Currently we are running several projects with financial institutions and other organizations, and their role is very important here because they are supporting SMEs today. For example, largest bank in Georgia, TBC Bank and Visa, in cooperation with us, starting the project, which means more than 200 new online shops and new digitalized businesses. Also, USAID organization implemented the project for the region of Georgia to digitalize entrepreneurs there, and this project is implemented through us.
Georgi, since we clearly see that the digital economy is in the center of the COVID-free future, which will eventually come, and we also see that especially young business people are more and more oriented on digital solutions, and some, like what we just heard a few minutes ago, partner up with such organizations like Visa, I decided to have a short business talk with the Visa regional manager of the Caucasus region, Kristina Dorosh, on main trends in the region and how Georgia compares with other countries. And for my surprise, we can say, at least Visa does, our country is the best performer in many areas of digital economy. However, there still are challenges, and we can now listen to Ms. Dorosh for more.
This new
so to say, digital reality of COVID-19 together with uncertainty, what it brings to the world, what it brings to Georgia, and how should we view it? Is it an more of an opportunity or more as a challenge?
First of all, Elena, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. And of course, I think the humankind will be thinking for more years to come. Was it indeed a challenge or an opportunity? Of course, it's a big problem overall we're facing today as a community, as a world. If we speak about digitalization overall and digital payments development in particular, what we see now is a leapfrog development of digital payments. And for that reason, of course, certain parts of our lives, like e-commerce, have been developing really in significant speed. Based on our data, e-commerce has been developing with a growth of 20% week over week, starting mid-March or beginning of April. And this is actually almost double of the pre-COVID times growth.
What are some of the trends that you see closer to Georgia, within the region and in Georgia as well?
We can definitely identify or call out trends such as contactless development, or as we call it, tap to pay, an opportunity for the consumer to pay with a simple tap of the form factor, be it a plastic card, be it a watch, be it a ring, like my payment ring, or a phone, obviously. And this is where I need to say that Georgia has been really way better prepared to massively scale this trend than many other markets or countries around the world. 9 out of 10 transactions being done in Georgia domestically are being done through contactless already. And the implementation of Apple Pay in September last year, when we launched it in Georgia, also gave a significant boost now to the phone payments. Another trend which we see and we believe will be significantly boosting the development of economies, specifically for small and medium businesses, because this is very much important, of course, right now. It has been always important to support small and medium businesses because they are a backbone of every economy.
During
Absolutely. Yes, they are the backbone of every economy. They are the largest usually employer in the country. And of course, as you are rightfully saying, this segment of companies has been severely hit the most during the pandemic. Although we need to say that small and medium companies are usually much more agile, and that allows them to move quicker towards development than maybe to bigger companies. So this trend, what I'm mentioning, is tap to phone, which allows a simple phone, Android-based phone, like this, which is Apple one, but Android-based phone can be used as a POS terminal.
Have SMEs adopted this technology, and what do you see in Georgia's case?
Speaking of Georgia, we are proud to say that Georgia has been one of the first markets to start the pilot project with Tap to Phone in partnership with Bank of Georgia, and we are happy to have this partnership in here. And we are now closing to finalizing certification part, and we will start to roll it out massively soon. And I need to say that around the region, we have 15 plus markets where Tap to Phone has been developed, and it's massively, like, commercially launched already in Ukraine and Belarus and Kazakhstan. And we're sure Georgia will be one of the next countries to follow the massive development of Tap to Phone, thus bringing small and medium companies into the digital kind of ecosystem, allowing them to accept payments, allowing them to offer their consumers the ability to buy, not touching cash, which is kind of dirty in many senses of this word, but specifically because of COVID. Overall, Georgia is one of the leaders and flagship markets in technologies development. And with the biometric trends, that's another confirmation of it. We have piloted again the possibility to pay where cardholder or payer is being identified through the Face ID. And this technology is connected to the payment so that you kind of look at the camera, you smile, and the payment goes through.
We'll be spending with a smile on their face, right? That's
Yes,
very
and
interesting.
it's a cool analogy. I'm kind of joking that you can pay with a smile, with your blue eyes, or with freckles, like in my case, and it's really cool. And of course, because of the COVID, by the way, this technology needs to be kind of reinvented a bit, because obviously, as with the phone, right, when you have face identification on your phone, wearing a mask, you cannot be identified. Therefore, now we're working to adjust the technology so that it would be usable in our times today, when we all wear masks to protect ourselves and others.
I think that this pandemic will last this adjusting to wearing fair masks will be quite for a long time, since you are investing in this type of adaptation towards COVID-19. One conclusion
Yeah,
that I can draw from this, which is not very.
of course, no, it's a good comment though, Elena. And of course, nobody knows how long the situation will last. Of course, we all see the light of the tunnel with the introduction of vaccines all over the world. But still, even with the vaccines, we all understand that still the need to wear a mask will probably stay with us for some time, because even when vaccinated, people still can be spreading the virus. So this is what they say on news. Therefore, we understand that wearing the mask will probably stay with us some time. And that's why we believe that technology should be, of course, to make it convenient and secure for people to use. Of course, e-commerce development will continue, because these habits that people are getting right now from one, say, due to the situation we find ourselves with, like now in Georgia, we are in a lockdown, like fuller or less a lockdown, but we are in a lockdown when what's the most important is when, right, and small businesses cannot operate. And therefore, in order to be able to continue their sales, to continue to provide their products from one hand, and from another hand, for people like you and me to be able to go to your preferable shop on the corner and buy, whatever, coffee or anything you are used to buy from the shop nearby, there is an opportunity for them to come online and to start working through remote channels.
Yeah, so yes, we also hear these recommendations for especially for small businesses. You can switch to e-commerce, and that's how you adapt to the situation during the lockdown. But how easy is that? You mentioned right now that there are like different solutions. So this also needs expertise, right? It's not like a snap of the finger that you just go to e-commerce and everything is well.
That's absolutely fair. And I was going to use the exact gesture you just did. It's not like snipping your finger. That's true indeed. And comparing to the option it was used before, now it's kind of becoming a must too for many companies to survive. Therefore, understanding that, of course, small companies do not really have the expertise and knowledge required, Visa, in partnership with our partner banks like TBC, BOG, we are supporting that shift for small companies into online. The support of Visa and the support of partner banks, we are offering a number of such platforms that are providing that support to small and medium companies. Like together with TBC, we launched a company with TBC for Business, where small micro companies could apply for the service and could be easily connected or supported in developing their online shop. Platforms like My Startup G, which we partnered with as well, promote small companies development of to promote development of sales channels for these small companies, for which developing their own online shop just doesn't make sense to maintain that site. Therefore, my G, so is a small craftsman when you can connect and be able to your product. And I've bought few things from my startup from Georgian producers.
The last point, but not the least, is that you need internet for all of this. You need quality internet, and the price of internet is also something to look for. How does Georgia compare in the quality of internetization? We have this program that's we are looking for this internetization program, which has some hurdles and challenges. We have OpenNet, all sorts of regulations. Recently, we had very big hurdles in Parliament while regulating internet. So a lot of things, a lot of challenges that come into the bigger picture. What is your take on this picture in Georgia as compared to the region and globally?
Although we, as Visa, we cannot influence this part directly, but of course we are paying a very strong attention to internet penetration in every market, because this is how we understand how many people can access the digital payments through the e-commerce, for instance. And in this area, Georgia internet penetration is showing, I would say, a modest number of 52.9% according to local numbers. At the same time, the report, which is called Digital Report, the source of digitalreport.com, is showing 80% of the penetration in neighbor markets like Azerbaijan, and 63% for Armenia, for instance. And by the way, in the same report, Georgia is being reflected with 68%, which is much better. We believe that ability of people to connect to internet will grow steadily, and this will broaden people's ability to continue their work online, studies online, continue their purchases online or selling online in case of small and medium businesses. So indeed, internet penetration is very important nowadays, more than ever, I guess.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time, and thank you for taking our questions as well.
Papanaki. This is a Georgian word for a traditional Georgian clothing that cover the hair, but Papanaki is also a company that creates traditional Georgian clothes for, with contemporary twists to it. This is a business which started with just one sewing machine, and now it is long ready to conquer Ukrainian market. It would have done so already if not the COVID-19. What's made in Georgia does not stay in Georgia. Nino Chkonia, founder of Papanaki, in the checkpoints.
Our business started in our house. We had a cellar in the yard which was dismantled. We took off the strings and put threads instead. We had one tailor, then the second, then the third, and we grew as a business because the orders were growing. Our first working day was in April 2015. We thought a lot about the name of the brand. We wanted it to be one word and to have an international sound. So we chose Papanaki, which is an old item of Georgian clothing, specifically a hat. I still have the item that brought me here. It was a 150 lari used sewing machine, which I keep as a talisman. We reorganized the sewing shop. We brought several modern machines, and those are still functioning today. We're working on many types of products, but it must be said that all three are somewhat Georgian. First type of products is the traditional Georgian clothing, which has no modernized elements. The second type is stage clothing, which made us widely popular in the first place. The third type is modern clothing with traditional Georgian elements. The popularity of this type is what allowed us to survive during the pandemic. As for the prices, we try to keep it balanced and affordable. Prices start from 50 lari in night amount to 2,500 lari. As of today, we have around 8 employees. We have a lot of customers, more foreigners than Georgians. Our company has participated in many shows and sales abroad. We're planning on implementing a grand project in Ukraine. However, we'll see what the epidemiological situation will allow us to do.
Now I will expand this traditional rubric of Made in Georgia with yet another story. This is the success story from many aspects. First, Made in Georgia may depict an innovative combination of clothes which can withstand fire. Second, the prototype of this special wear for firemen is already being tested. Third, even without the actual product, this team managed to grab the interest and financing from angel investors in the US, France, Australia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Latvia, and in Georgia as well. And all of this from a startup that kicked off in a small garage. Anuga Jokhadze tells us more.
Show these people to the world and millions of people will be safer. This is how we introduced Vamikhi and Sandro, people who created the first fireproof uniform in the world a year ago. Everything started with this. We tested the product on ourselves and introduced you to the part of the fireproof uniform that the company Elven Technologies was working on. A year later, we asked for the results. The uniform is ready, new initiatives have been planned, and important contacts have been made. If creators of the innovative product were known in Georgia and the US before, now Elven Technologies' popularity has expanded to France, Australia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Latvia, and many more. They are known for their product, a unique uniform which they created in Tbilisi in their little garage. So what has changed in a year? Where do they stand now?
The Australian government is interested in our product. The government has created a special accelerator for firefighting startups because massive fires are a problem in Australia. 1 week ago, a Latvian accelerator became interested in us and might invest in our company in 3 months. An interesting contact has been made with Azerbaijan. I'm talking about a powerful investor who might convince us to completely move to Azerbaijan.
Popularity has grown. Other parties' interests have been depicted. People of various professional backgrounds have worked hard on the final prototype, which is now ready. The authors of the Georgian-made uniform claim that this costume guarantees fire protection for the firefighters. Their invention is set to enable the rescue team to work 10 times more securely and give them more time to put out fires. At such times, even a couple of seconds can be vital.
According to the laboratory tests, protection time for the existing costumes in the market is 8-10 seconds, while we have 10 times more, 60-80 seconds. We're thinking of creating another product, a cooling system, which will increase the protection time to 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, one firefighter can cover the whole building.
We're not surprised that there is a great interest in an innovative and vital product. But what is the action plan? What steps are there to take before production begins? The prototype must undergo field testing as well as laboratory testing. After that, the product will have to be certified. The authors of the startup assure us that if everything goes according to the action plan, by the end of 2022, firefighters in different countries of the world will fight to save lives in Georgian uniforms. Before that, additional funds are needed that are currently being mobilized despite the pandemic.
We met with a lot of people in Georgia, including big businesses and powerful people. But we also met ordinary people who want to help us. Most of the money we raised came from people who made an investment for the first time in their lives. Our funds are currently at $32,000. We need $75,000 in total. We have applied for the JITA grant and are waiting for an answer. With this money, we will do laboratory and field tests. In the third quarter of 2021, we plan to claim a patent. We also plan to get a certification of the product. This will allow us to ship the product anywhere in the world by 2022.
Like in every business, certain challenges present themselves in case of Alvan Technologies too. The pandemic has shifted the company's daily agenda, but they didn't stop. Their actions always stem from necessities. The most important, perhaps, is that they believe in the core purpose of their product, and we all know that's the guarantee to real success.
And before we say goodbye to our viewers for today, let us once more look at what could make it easier to do business in Georgia and what are our strategic partners like the US supporting in Georgia's economic development.
Yes, Georgi, we already know how USAID helps, for example, those villages that live near the so-called borders due to Russian occupation and who struggle to draw nearly any investment. So there has been this effort to support startups there to help the marginalized economy breathe more. Two main emphases of this interview that we will be watching in a minute with Mr. Peter Wiebler, Mission Director of USAID Georgia, is first on the USAID strategy side, since it is changing due to COVID, among other factors. And the second is on the recent expansion of the economic security program with $5.2 million USD for Georgia. For more, here is Peter Wiebler with optimistic focus on opportunities rather than challenges. Let's start with the USAID's new strategy. What does this new strategy entail, and what is the impact of COVID-19 on this new strategy?
We at USAID have been working hard, and we recently launched a new 5-year strategy for our assistance and partnership with Georgia. Specifically, we're looking to do 3 things. One is to strengthen Georgia's resilience to counter external malign influences. That could be helping to fight against misinformation, could be strengthening energy security, could be growing the economy and building it in a way that diversifies Georgia's modernizing economy so that it's not so reliant on certain things like, for example, agricultural exports to one market or to tourism from primarily one market or from abroad. As we've seen during the pandemic, tourism in particular is vulnerable to a pandemic circumstance, and as we've seen, the results of this sort of stoppage of external foreign tourism into Georgia has really hurt the country. So there's a need to not move away from tourism, but to expand the economy so that there are other sources of employment and growth. Lastly, I think we're going, but not least, we're continuing and we're deepening our emphasis on strengthening Georgia's democratic institutions and processes. We've seen a lot of progress in Georgia over 25 years, almost 30 years now, but there's still a ways to go.
You also recently announced $5.2 million expansion to the economic security program. Economy being one of the main emphasis for us and also for Georgia, and this is also to support Georgia's private sector so that it recovers from COVID-19. What are the main priorities here?
We have tried to respond and support our Georgian partners in a variety of ways since the pandemic hit. Part of that was emergency assistance to organizations like the WHO, like UNICEF, like the International Federation of the Red Cross and Georgian Red Cross, to provide emergency assistance to Georgia's citizens who are most in need, and also to help them with critical medical infrastructure to try to essentially help battle the pandemic. What we've also done is take and expand a number of our ongoing programs like economic security, which is a major USAID initiative looking at trying to support and grow high-value jobs in the non-agricultural sector. So in partnership with the government of Georgia, we're increasing our assistance to innovative economic sectors, which are going to be maybe the future of the country's economy, like e-commerce, light manufacturing, information technology. I think one of the things that is easy to lose sight of as we talk about the pandemic is that there's a lot of discussion and focus on the economic damage, but there's less discussion about the economic opportunity. Even though a lot of people are hurting, maybe there are ways for Georgia's businesses and its major economic sectors to, as I say, leapfrog ahead and really enter into kind of a next generation of economic growth that creates high-value jobs for more Georgians to help support their families and their communities.
What is the approach to the agriculture sector as well? Because what we've seen from COVID-19 as well is that it might pose some threat to globalization, that it might bring more closed economies, that countries might have to self-rely or become more self-sustainable. So what is approaching that? Because the government sees the agriculture sector as one of the sectors where it can achieve these goals.
Before COVID, we were trying to work with the ministry and our private sector partners in the agriculture sector on moving to more high-value types of crops, like berries, things that traditionally are moving beyond, let's say, the subsistence economy, smaller plots of land, but trying to get and modernize the agricultural sector, and particularly to focus on those subsectors, as I say, like berries, other types of specialty nuts that would have lucrative markets overseas, particularly in the European Union. The pandemic has forced us to kind of retrench, but not to eliminate that focus. So in the agriculture sector, our focus is now on helping farmers, food producers adopt innovative technologies and practices that can bring higher revenues and increase their access to those markets that I was talking about, particularly in Europe, which we see, and I think the Georgian government sees, as really the primary market target, if you will, for the future. So we work with producers and producer groups to improve their organizational capacity. So what the long-term idea is handing over our USAID kind of agricultural development products and initiatives to those organizations as a focus, as part of our focus on what we call self-reliance. So an example of that is the Georgian Hazelnut Growers Association, or GHGA, which we, the ministry, the National Food Agency, and private sector partners like Ferrero have been working to form over many, many years. And it's finally getting to a point where it's almost able to sustain itself, or at least it's got good prospects for doing that. So
yes, and draw more FDI, because now we hear that Kamil Bloch is also interested in this hazelnut market in Georgia, and it's coming to Georgia. So that has that effect as well.
We are looking to use the example and the experience that we've gained in the hazelnut sector to apply that to maybe other sectors, like maybe citrus, which is obviously an interesting sector, particularly out in Western Georgia. Other types of nuts, whether those are kind of pistachios or walnuts or those types of things, which really have, again, excellent potential market opportunities in really high value markets like Europe.
Another program that I want also to touch upon, and it is one of the, to me, it is one of the most important programs that USAID is running. That's economic governance program, where you are helping also with reforms, expertise in these reforms. So which reforms do you think are needed now in the context of COVID-19 and also post-COVID era as well?
So the economic governance program's main objective now is to support those reforms that make Georgia more attractive to international investors and more supportive of local companies. So we want to help Georgia build an economic environment where businesses, workers, families, communities can all thrive. And this is consistent with some of the points I was making earlier. So we have strong partnerships, not just with the Ministry of Economy, but with all the relevant ministries, and also at the local level, with local actors and local authorities to help drive these reforms forward in ways that actually support both good governance principles, but also help expand economic growth so that it touches more Georgians, particularly outside of the major population centers in major cities like Tbilisi, Batumi, et cetera. Recently, as an example, when the pandemic hit, our economic governance team fielded a number of international experts that have helped to assess the economic impact of the pandemic, and also presented a set of very concrete, action-oriented policy recommendations for a strong economic recovery. And we've worked very closely with the Prime Minister's office and his chief economic advisors on this. So those recommendations included support for high-value manufacturing, which we've talked about, increased digitalization, which I think we all understand intuitively how and why that's important in the pandemic circumstances, and also private sector-led skills development, meaning we've gone out to private sector companies, to the businesses that actually employ people. And we've asked those companies, what kind of skills do you need to succeed? And what is the system, the Georgian educational system, vocational education system, not producing? So we've tried to basically make this what we call a private sector-led, industry-led skills development program.
Of course, we understand that these reforms need to take time so that they materialize. But what are some of the, some smaller milestones, or some measures, like visible measures, that you would say that yes, this approach from the USAID and this support from the USAID is actually working?
So I think we're looking at a number of things. One is we're looking at the development of capital markets here in the country, and that's something that I think we've worked on to some extent, to a limited extent in the past, and maybe we'll increase our focus in the future, so that the capital markets can really mobilize the funding and the capital that businesses need to start up and succeed. So we're going to look at how much interest and focus the new government, when it's formed, comes in and can actually basically galvanize to really dedicate commitment, political will, and commitment to the growth of capital markets here in the country. The second thing that we're going to be looking at is the attraction of foreign direct investment. That's obviously just a huge sign of confidence and interest in an economy when foreign investors, particularly whether they're American or German or British or Turkish, whatever wherever the capital is from, are interested because they see potential, economic potential in the country. So that's something that we're also trying to focus on and help the Georgians, our Georgian counterparts, with direct support, for example, to Enterprise Georgia, which has become an increasingly important partner for us. We often talk about reform in the judicial arena as a democratic issue, and of course it is. But the other thing that's important is that a solid, dependable judicial system that foreigners who invest here or want to invest here have confidence in case they have disputes about contracts or things like that. That's an important part of a solid economic system as well. And so what we're trying to see is continued commitment and dedication and further progress on the judicial reform side to really implement the reforms that have been passed by Parliament in the so-called fourth wave of judicial reform, but also so that we can see increased investor confidence here. Those are some of the things that we're looking for.
And just to sum up our conversation, what would be your recommendations, or what would be your needs as well, so that this input that the U.S. people grant Georgian people is actually effective?
A fundamental part of our new strategy is to really deepen the rich partnerships that we have with all aspects of Georgian society, whether that's the government or private sector or civil society. So we're going to continue our efforts there, and we look forward to the seating of a new parliament that hopefully has representation from across Georgian society. And we look forward to the formation of a new government that will help to continue and really deepen the economic recovery plans that the current government has been implementing. So we encourage our Georgian government counterparts to take a really hard look and assess the impact of what they've already spent and what they've already done to respond to COVID, and to identify the programs that work and those that did not. And that's just good governance, and we have confidence that our governmental counterparts will do that, and we know, in fact, they're already doing that because we're helping them do it in a couple of sectors. We're also encouraging our government friends to continue to facilitate investments into productive sectors and activities that can diversify the economy. as I mentioned earlier, and particularly focusing on high value goods and services and much wider support for skills development across the spectrum. And the last point I would make is that a more independent, transparent, accountable judiciary, it's the backbone of a functioning, high-functioning economic system. And it's necessary for those local businesses to flourish as well as to attract foreign investment. And that foreign investment is just going to continue to be key to really fuel Georgia's economic recovery next year as we all hopefully come out of this pandemic.
Yes, hopefully. And we've been hearing that last recommendation for many, many years.
Right.
Many years.
We have seen progress. There is work to be done in the rule of law and judicial reform arena, but we did see some progress last year with the passage of the fourth wave, and so that's promising. We want to be positive. We want to be encouraging, and so we do see some progress. There is a lot of work to be done, and the United States is there to assist as our partners need.
Great. Thank you for that, and thank you for the interview as well.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Hopefully we all get there. This is all for today. We'll see you next Sunday. But before, follow us on BMG and Forbes and provide your feedback, please.
Yes, we need that always. Until Sunday then, 10 p.m. See you soon.
See you.
In 2020, Kaspi became a major technological breakthrough on the London Stock Exchange. After the IPO, the capitalization of the Kazakh fintech increased to $6 billion. Its Georgian leader, Mikhail Lomtadze, became a billionaire. Meet the new Georgian billionaire and Kazakh IPO with Georgian roots, which was one of the largest public placements on European Stock Exchange in 2020. The December issue of Forbes Georgia tells you about the successful trading platform and its Georgian leader, Mikhail Lomtadze. In the upcoming issue of Forbes Georgia, you will read about ratings of the microfinance sector and Georgian TV channels according to the current revenues. We will analyze in detail how many millions of lari were spent on election campaigns in the 2020 parliamentary elections. An important topic of the last month: how effectively do we spend millions on football? Shatat Qashelashvili summed up the unfavorable results. David Narmania talks about the energy exchange, which should completely change the relationship between the electricity supplier and the consumer. If you're wondering how it's possible to develop during a pandemic, the question is answered by the head of York Tower. The new issue also tells you about the organic brand, whose product is distributed in 40 countries on 5 continents. This is the result of Georgia's Natural, whose director, Vladimir Gugushvili, plans to make Georgia the leader of the organic market. In the new issue of Forbes Georgia, you will be introduced to the CEO of Japan Tobacco International and learn more about the company, represented in more than 130 countries, with global employees up to 44,000, 90 of which are in Georgia. Read our exclusive interview with Georgian businessman Nodar Georgadze in Slovakia, whose project values are up to 44 million euros in Georgia and 99 million euros in Slovakia. For many more insightful business and economic affairs, read this month's edition of Forbes Georgia.